team link, which is one of the features we offer our sales professionals, where they can reach out to sales leads and prospects through by leveraging the entire network of their own team. In this case, it could be their company, it could be a group of recruiters working together. This is how we end up selling essentially a recruiter and a sales navigator product that are meant for our power users. And then comes the job seeker. The job seeker is again instant results along with search suggestions. In this case, we offer suggestions for jobs at a given company, as well as jobs that require certain skills, jobs with certain titles, which lead them to the search page, which again has facets and advanced search fields. And in this case, the fields and facets are tailored towards job searching. It lets you find jobs that offer a certain amount of salary or at a certain location, and so on. This is something that's unique to LinkedIn in that we can also enable, we can have the network work for you in your job search, in that we offer you insights on how you're connected to people that could refer you to this job, your relationship to the poster of a job, or in this case, people at the company that is posting the job that you could reach out to. Other search users include the high school student that is researching an undergraduate program to attend through our university search vertical, the casual information seeker that finds value in our influencer content vertical, and advertisers and marketers that are looking to target specific companies and groups through company and group search. To summarize all of this, we have 300 million members that form our user base, and we let them search and explore the economic graph of 300 million profiles, 3 billion endorsements of skills, 300,000 jobs, 3 million companies, 2 million groups, 25,000 schools, and hundreds of millions of professional content pieces, essentially professional knowledge, in it, which essentially forms a product experience. Right? The ability to explore the economic graph through all of the tools that we provide. And all of this is built on top of one index, one unified search stack, which is the platform that Sriram referred to earlier. So, as you can imagine how, as we keep adding more and more entities to the economic graph and the graph grows, the platform ends up being key to how we're able to build products such as search across all of these complex entity types. So let's go to Q&A.
So it's interesting. It sounds like you had to go through 2 rounds of building Lucene, and the second time you really built it from the ground up again. What prevented you from deciding to go with an off-the-shelf solution like a Google Search Appliance or some other commercially available search you didn't have to reinvent it?
So, can you hear me? Yeah. So, I think it's useful for us to own the search stack that we're building. There are lots of details here and there, for example, faceting and live updates, that for which we need very tight control of what we build. And we found that we need to own the code. I think that's the primary thing. And we are probably going in a different direction from what you're talking about. We might even see a time when we don't have any Lucene in our stack. What we have right now, what we have in our stack is a very small amount of Lucene. It's just the index part of it. Everything else about that is really a search engine. It's not. It's not something that sits on top of Lucene and adds value to Lucene. It's something that is a search engine, and Lucene is a part of it. And it so happens that today it's a very small part of it. And we feel that there is value in replacing that with something that we own ourselves to help us add certain kinds of search functionalities, make existing functionality better, and have the ability to add new functionalities in the future that we cannot add today because we're stuck with it. So it's essentially not being stuck with a certain kind of infrastructure that we cannot be flexible with.
Hey, you spoke about how search works, but I was trying to, it would be good if you could throw some light on the few attributes which you use to score or rank the results. Like maybe when you're ranking people, what are the main attributes you take into consideration?
Yeah, we don't talk about that.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
So there's some.
Should I just yell?
No, wait.
Should I go first? Go for it.
I'm sorry. So this is kind of a double question. The first one is, what about intent? I mean, I see what your business objectives are, but sometimes people can use LinkedIn to find out other things. Like, for example, if you want to make an investigation about a company, you could make an investigation about what type of people they are. If they are you, it means that they're interested in LinkedIn. In the same way, if you want to link to people on the spot, you might be interested not exactly to their jobs, but to what they're doing last minute. So how are you capturing these other users? Are you not interested at all? That's the first part of the question. And the second part is, it is very difficult right now for third-party integrators to integrate your system into other things. Do you have any plan to be a little bit more open in the future with APIs and so on?
So the first question, we're definitely thinking very closely, very deeply about how people use search and how we can enable these magical experiences, like two people that just met in a conference, and how they can connect with each other, and how, for instance, professional content can be discovered through search and so on. So if there are any specific use cases that you want to know more about, I'd love to talk about that. As far as the second one is concerned, it's something that LinkedIn has not done a great job of. The developer APIs, and that's my personal take on it. If you were to think of something like Facebook as a developer platform, it's like so well laid out in that businesses have been built on top of it. And one big challenge for LinkedIn is that it's the data that makes LinkedIn valuable, the most valuable to begin with. Unlike unlike being able to monetize engagement, it's the data that's our core business value. And as a result, you can see how LinkedIn will continue to drive online professional identity, but there is a reason why we'll need to continue to be like a semi-open system.
So this is a slightly more technical one about the first half. It sounds like when you rebuilt the search engine, you built it something similar to like the Lambda architecture that Nathan Mars advocates, if you know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
Okay, never mind.
Is that a system that exists, or is that a proposal?
He recently wrote a book on it, sort of the system that he claims that he rebuilt at Twitter, with sort of a batch layer and a speed layer for doing real-time updates.
No, I don't know anything about it.
Okay.
Hi, I have a question about the mission of LinkedIn. How is it different from the other companies that do big data in HR? If I had the mission correct, it sounds like it's big data in HR, and other companies do that as well.
What's the mission of LinkedIn?
No, how
as
is it
compared
different?
to other big data and HR companies?
It's the mission of LinkedIn.
Question.
Well, I think the key is to be able to leverage data in a way to create economic opportunity. Right? It all ties into our vision. So in this case, like how can we leverage data about the skills that people have to create opportunities for them? How can we leverage the repository of 3 million companies that we have, and how can we use that to identify business opportunity in bringing these companies to potentially, how can we get them to engage with each other and create economic opportunity. So in that sense, the economic graph and how we make that a reality is going to be key in how we leverage data and achieve Milton's mission.
This is a question for Sriram. Can you talk a little bit about how what mechanism you use to ensure live updates make it to every single replica of the shard? I don't know if you can talk about that.
Yeah, so we have these feeds. So from what I said, you probably gathered that LinkedIn is a very feed-oriented company. The infrastructure is based on a lot of plumbing. You have pipes connecting systems all over the place and data flowing. There's producer-consumer sitting all over the place, and LinkedIn has really perfected that. This business of pieces of data going from point A to point B works really well. So getting these live updates to every shard, every replica works very nicely. It's sort of somewhat counterintuitive from where I've been in the past, where we had to build that framework from scratch. Out here we added to start with, and we had too much of it. That was the problem. So that's one. Then second, the snapshot indices that we build are built once. We don't build them everywhere. We have special machines that build the snapshots, and once it's built, it gets shipped to all the machines. So the base and the snapshot are the same everywhere by design, and it's only the live updates that could be different, but hopefully they're not too different, and hopefully they're generally the same given our highly sophisticated pipes.
I have two questions. First one, just like Facebook lets you download your entire posting history, I don't know if LinkedIn is planning to do something like that.
I don't know.
Not in the product roadmap. Okay.
I don't know that we take data privacy very seriously, and we've been discussing ways to have something in the lines of how all the data that you own is something you should be able to access all the time. I don't exactly know where we are with it in the roadmap.
Second question is about the LinkedIn influencer postings, which are obviously they are selected individuals, and now you're also allowing people, ordinary people, to post. Now, are these posts available outside of the LinkedIn platform for search?
The quick answer is very soon. As of today, all of this content is accessible through our discovery products and through search. So content search lets you search across all influencer and member posts. But clearly, content is something that we hope to use to get people engaged with the LinkedIn platform, and that would mean we start SEOing this content, and so you should expect to see something in those lines in the future. But at this point, it continues to remain closed.
You just said that Lucene cannot support instant search, but I think it can. Maybe the reason you said it cannot because of the slow speed. So what are the ways you introduced to improve the speed of instant search? And the second question is, are the instant search results the same to the real search results?
No, all I mentioned was conventional wisdom is that instant search cannot be supported by an inverted index. And we, in fact, right now the instant search that you see in LinkedIn today is supported by a Lucene backend.
Thank you.
So can I ask, are you guys looking to improve the trust factor in the data people put into LinkedIn? For example, I can claim I'm the CEO, you know, hi, Ravi is not going to be happy, right? And I have 800 friends who may not know, you know, who Hive is and, you know, would believe me. So what are you doing to improve, you know, the trust factor in terms of the data people put into LinkedIn?
We obviously want to keep that quality high and we want to improve it. We have a spam team. We have probably some members of the spam team sitting here. There is an ongoing effort. We fight, you know, we fight these kinds of things that keep happening, and it's an ongoing battle. People get more clever, but yeah, it's something that we care about, and it's not perfect. There are all kinds of things that would have been the case if that team did not exist. Can't hear you. Yeah, this.
Hi, first, thank you for taking the time to come tonight and give us an overview of what you guys have been doing. So quick question. Part of my job at my company is to actually deploy LinkedIn internally and externally. And so we talk about creating economic value. And one of the things that we're realizing is that, so you guys have a great tool called the recommend tool where you would try to, LinkedIn is recommending to its users who they should be connected with, right? But that's based on your own algorithm. However, one of the things that we're realizing is that, so let's say as a big, large corporation, we want our own people, we know who they should be connected with based on a different algorithm. Are you planning on allowing, so especially with the sales feature, are you planning on allowing corporations to actually set up their own algorithm so that they can decide who their own employees should be connecting with?
The quick answer is I don't know what's in the pipeline for our sales solutions products, but I would guess that that LinkedIn will continue to own the algorithms behind these recommendation systems. The product, the feature you're referring to is people you may know, and what I do see a lot more of happening on LinkedIn is that company admins get a lot more control of their company pages, and whenever we try to tie that with profiles that claim to work at that company, oftentimes there is a conflict as to whether the company has ownership of that data or whether it's the member that claims to work at that company. And so we hope to keep the two distinct all through, in that like we clearly identify companies that have well-defined admins that go through a verification process and continue to have that part of the pipeline, and members can continue to represent themselves in whatever way they want. And I don't foresee a day when the company admins can build features that will connect people that claim to be at that company.
We'll take two more questions. Just wait for one.
Hi, I have a question as a user. Sometimes I have a friend who posts a lot of articles, but like later on in the day, I'm like, oh, I want to see what he posted. Is there a feature of what he has posted where I could later on in the day I can see what he posted?
So post search is something that used to exist on LinkedIn, it no longer exists. And we are addressing this through a few product initiatives in the future. But at this immediate point, the only way to find posts is on the newsfeed, which can be sorted both based on time as well as based on connections.
There are some filters that you can apply. I'm not exactly sure how to solve your specific problem, but there are some kinds of filters you can apply that might address your needs. Not sure. One more question? There's one question out here.
There's one here.
Right.
Actually, I have two questions.
Ask one. Okay.
So the first one is, how do you choose to shard your data? Is it based on some deterministic hashing or something else? And if it's deterministic, do you require to reindex the entire data in the case of capacity increase? The second question is, how do you narrow down your search? Is it against everything, or you have some logic to narrow down the search only against something that in one or two connections to the
Sure.
searcher?
So very quickly, the first question is, yes, the goal of a sharding function is to balance the load across all the shards as well as possible. But we also want the sharding function to be very simple, and the reason for that is for debugging. So it should be very easy for me when somebody files a bug to know which shard I need to go and find out what the problem is. If I have having some fancy sharding function that I need to get a calculator out, or I need to get a program out to figure out which shard that thing is in, becomes painful. So we prefer to stick with very simple sharding functions, and ideally we'd like the same document to be present in the same shard every time we do the index. So those are good attributes of sharding functions. The second question is, we do query intent. We have a module that does figure out what the intent of the query is. For we didn't show a slide. We have a slide that shows if your query is Edward Jones versus Ed Jones. In one case, we prefer a company. In the other case, we prefer a person. You know, that person is called Edward Jones. Sometimes we could, in fact, not send the query to certain verticals. It is possible for us to do that. We have a reasonably good query understanding.
Regarding the first question, so if you choose deterministic hashing, do you require to rebuild your entire index in case of like you adding a couple more machines to your cluster?
So yes, if you want to reshard, you do need to rebuild the whole index. But we rebuild it every week, and then we don't reshard every week. We reshard maybe every 6 months, every year. Resharding is not a frequently occurring activity.
Great. Thank you, Sriram and Kumaresh. And after this brief, please, you'll have a chance to talk to both of them outside. So give us a couple minutes and sit in your seats.
Yeah.